got a lot of questions on that, but I wanted to be more specific on, there's an interesting story in Huffington Post where a White House official is quoted today as suggesting the people who support this sanctions bill on the Hill, Democrats and Republicans, the quote is, if certain members of Congress want the U.S. to take military action, they should be upfront with the American public and say so. You're basically accusing Democrats like Bob Menendez of wanting to go to war. Is that really a fair characterization?
I think we have said all along, Ed, that we have worked cooperatively and effectively with an excellent partner in Congress in building a sanctions regime against Iran, the likes of which the world has never seen. More effective than the world has ever seen. And we share the same goals that members of Congress of both parties share, which is the absolute need to deprive Iran of acquiring a nuclear weapon. And our stated concern again and again is that pursuing sanctions now, new sanctions now, would actually undermine the objective here. The objective being that we can bring about, potentially, through negotiation, a peaceful resolution of this conflict between Iran and the rest of the world in a verifiable, transparent way that would, more effectively than a military action, assure the P5+1, the United States, our allies, and everybody in the world that Iran does not and is not does not have and is not pursuing a nuclear weapon.
So this could blow up the diplomatic deal, but the thing is, you're going further in this story, and a White House official on the record is saying that these lawmakers want the U.S. to take military action. Can you say from the podium that that Democrat Bob Menendez wants to go to war?
Look, I think that Senator Menendez, Chairman Menendez, wants what we want, which is to prevent Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon. He and many others in the Senate have been excellent partners in helping construct this sanctions regime, which was designed to bring Iran to the negotiating table, and which, thanks to the efforts of Congress, has achieved that. And I believe that you know, when it comes, this isn't a debate about sanctions. Obviously, this administration supports sanctions. We've built the biggest, most effective sanctions regime in history. Our view of the current situation is that passing new sanctions legislation now would be counterproductive to the goal that we all share. And the problem, the obvious problem with that is that if we want, as everyone does, to prevent Iran from having a nuclear weapon, and we make it harder, if not impossible, to pursue achieving that goal peacefully, then our options become very limited. So it's not about motive, it's about the potential outcome that would be negative for the United States and our allies.
Trump has repeatedly said he has the military option on the table. He should not take that off the table.
And he won't.
So it would be unfair for people to suggest he wants to go to war, right? He's just saying, I want to have that option. So how can you possibly accuse Democrats and Republicans on the Hill of wanting to take military action? That's what you're saying.
Again, Ed, I think that
are you running from that quote is my question.
No, I'm not. What I'm saying is I mean, I don't know every one of 100 senators what their personal views on whether or not a military force ought to be used in Iran. So I can't give a blanket statement about how they all feel. What I do know is when it comes to Senator Menendez and all of the partners who have assisted this administration over the years in building this sanctions regime is that we share a common goal, which is to deprive Iran of the opportunity of acquiring a nuclear weapon, and to do so through negotiations. That's why we built the sanctions regime. And our strong concern is that passage of sanctions at this time would negatively affect and perhaps scuttle the negotiations that are underway, and then make it much harder, if not impossible, to achieve our objective peacefully.
Last one on Afghanistan. You've probably seen the report